For more now, we bring in former Atlanta City Council member Alex Wan, who was the first person of Asian descent to ever hold that position. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Wan. One of the shooting sites was literally less than a mile away from your house. So figuratively speaking, I'd like to get a sense of just how close to home this all hits for you. Were you seeing this in your community before the week's shooting? And have you ever personally felt targeted?
So thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to give voice to this important issue and to hopefully bring some positive out of these tragedies. Yes, the shooting site that happened in Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, is a mile from my house. And when I heard about that, it just really kind of struck a chord. I grew up in Atlanta and have been working in the Asian American community, trying to promote civil rights and cultural awareness all my life, thinking that we were making progress. But an incident like this feels like it pushes us back again to, a time when back in the 70s when we first moved to the city. And I can't say that it surprised me necessarily. I mean, as recently as last fall, I was in North Georgia. My sister and I, she's Chinese as well, we were walking into a store, and someone walking out, seeing us, started joking with his friend about the Kung flu. And I thought, wow, that's pretty blatant and pretty just obvious. And it just felt like that's the culture and the atmosphere that has been built and accepted in terms of anti-Asian sentiment in the country. So while it was surprising and shocking, in a way it wasn't surprising that it happened. It's really tragic that it's 6 deaths later for us to really heighten the conversation around this.
One Atlanta resident was recently quoted saying, "We need the people whom we spend all this time and energy electing to stand up to the racism, not just put out a statement." What do you feel can be done at this point to stand up against this racism? What are some of the solutions that should be proposed and acted on right now?
Well, I think, as a former elected official, I mean, my job, I felt like, was to just be very visible and just to make people aware and I don't want to, I mean, comfortable may not be the right word, but just acknowledge that Asians are very active, contributing citizens in our community and in our state, so that, the familiarity and awareness and knowledge helps mitigate racism and racist acts. I think now more than ever, the Asian community needs to stand up, electeds and non-electeds, just to be seen and be heard. I think too long we've been considered the model minority because we've been taught by our parents that immigrated here in the middle of the civil rights movement to be quiet, to work hard, to keep our heads down and be silent. And that time has to stop now. I mean, we have to stand up and be seen and be heard and be acknowledged. And so that would be the one thing I would say is our responsibility. And we have to do that now more than ever.
While this kind of violence against Asian Americans has existed in the past, we're certainly seeing a surge now that started last spring early on in the pandemic. And many say that this was incited by former President Trump, who referred to the coronavirus as the China virus, or as you mentioned earlier, the Kung flu. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there's no question. And it wasn't, I mean, I've been in Georgia all my life and I've been traveling all over the state. And I did feel for a while there that I, when I go to different parts of the state that wasn't in the metro Atlanta area, that I felt more comfortable that it wasn't a big deal. But that incident in the store with someone blatantly seeing me and my sister bring that up made me realize that no, things had changed and gone in reverse. And it's too coincidental that, a lot of the vitriol was also coming directly from the White House by the former president.
You mentioned earlier that it's so unfortunate, essentially, that it took this in order to get people's attention. Do you feel that prior to this latest violence, that the recent assaults against Asians have been often overlooked by authorities?
I don't have any reason to think that. I don't have any statistics or specific incidents. that would make me think that they're overlooked. But I do worry that when crimes happen in the Asian community, that there is a reluctance sometimes to report it to the authorities because of language barriers, because of just fear and uncertainty and unfamiliarity with public safety officials. So just because I'm not aware of it and I haven't seen statistics doesn't mean it hasn't happened, for that very fact that it may have actually been rising, but people were too scared to say anything.
Alex Wan, we thank you so much for your time tonight. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you for having us, and thank you again for highlighting this and giving voice to the subject.
Of course.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.